I just sort of decided one day, I was like, well, I'm here, I may as well give it a go. And I just sort of carried on from there. When you're in the junior categories, I don't know about other sports, but in archery particularly, there's not many to compete against, especially in like the local competitions. 6 or 7 years ago, we were at a shoot and it wasn't really planned, but I was on for a junior master bowman, so I was like, oh, I want to do well at this shoot. It's my last one of the season. And we had torrential rain, so it got called off. And yeah, I wasn't happy. It's just the way it's set out is like a World Cup, and it's just a great experience. I'm really excited to be going, looking forward to the whole atmosphere, just being in the games and taking part. But yeah, hopefully it will go well.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by archery enthusiast and talented archer Mollie Perrett. How are we doing today, Mollie?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good, good. As always in my podcast, I kind of start with a question: have you always been sporty? So, have you always done sport since you were young?
Not really. I was quite into PE at primary school, and then when I started secondary, it was just sort of something I had to do. And then I found archery, and I was just been hooked on it since.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about how that started because obviously archery, whilst it's a sport, it's not a well-known sport in Jersey. Um, how did that begin for you?
Yeah, so my parents were both doing archery, and they were in the Jersey Island Games. So I've spent a lot of time at the field, um, just sort of waiting for them to finish training. Um, and I just sort of decided one day, I was like, well, I'm here, I may as well give it a go. And I just sort of carried on from there.
Yeah, yeah. Have you always loved it since you had that first go? Were you good? Were you good from the start, or did it take time as well?
I honestly don't really remember. I was still quite young, but yeah, I just really enjoyed it, and I was always there, so it seemed like a good idea to carry on, and
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely love it.
definitely, definitely. Um, it obviously progressed. How old were you when you took part in the first competition, and how do you remember how you feeling going into it?
Quite nervous. I'd done like a lot of cub competitions, but I had never been away for a competition, so it was just a local sort of one in Hampshire, but yeah, it was quite nerve-wracking not knowing anyone. And even though it's like the same what you've got to do, it's just a whole nother level having so many people on the field.
Yeah, yeah. How did that go, that first competition? Do you remember it well?
Not particularly, but from what I do remember, it went all right. I mean, there's when you're in the junior categories, I don't know about other sports, but in archery particularly, there's not many to compete against, especially in like the local competitions. Um, and then when you start going to sort of more high profile events, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. Explain to us, well, for those who might not know as much about archery, how do competitions work? Obviously, there's team and individual, but how do they work?
So they start very early, finish very late. You're in the field all day. And then different distances throughout the day to they generally get closer. Sometimes we do head to head, so you shoot 15 arrows against someone, and then obviously winner goes through to the next match. And then the team stuff is all head to heads as well, so it gets quite competitive with as people get knocked out, sort of rallying around cheering for people.
Yeah, yeah. how much do you enjoy the competition side? Obviously, you train a lot. How much do you enjoy the competing when it does come around?
I really enjoy the competing, the whole atmosphere of everyone being there, just seeing people you haven't seen in ages. Yeah, and just everyone is so supportive.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You mentioned Hampshire. Obviously you represented Hampshire and took part in those competitions. How good are they for you to get away and to do that as well, to represent someone else, and that's not particularly Jersey?
Yeah, so there's like everything, there's you've got to qualify to shoot on the Hampshire team. So shoot all winter, putting in scores, and then getting there can be a struggle sometimes with the cost and travel and that, but yeah, they're very supportive of, trying to get people onto the Hampshire team, new archers, giving everyone a chance.
Yeah, and in terms of, we'll touch on the travel costs and all that. Do you get enough support from Jersey to do that, or do you want more support?
I mean, everything helps. I'm lucky enough to have support in the aspect of a gym training. I've been sponsored by Hogston Health at the Radisson. So that obviously helps with that side of things. Travel wise, there's not much. We don't really get anything. They get something from Hampshire, but yeah, not much.
Yeah, yeah. So that is something that's definitely needs to improve. Within the sport or in all sports, there's highs and lows, and um, what would you say is your lowest point in the sport so far? Obviously, you're still young, but from your experiences so far, what kind of stands out the lows and moments you've kind of had to learn from?
There's yeah, there's been a lot to learn from. Um, just sort of like little things of, not maybe checking something when you're shooting and then it throws everything off. But the main one that stands out for me was probably 6 or 7 years ago. We were at a shoot and it wasn't really planned, but I was on for a junior master bowman, so I was like, oh, I want to do well at this shoot. It's my last one of the season. And we had torrential rain, so it got called off. And yeah, I wasn't happy.
Yeah, yeah. How did you react to that? Obviously, disappointing because you're onto a very good result, but how frustrating was that, n- knowing it was out of your hands as well?
Yeah, I was really not happy because normally they carry on if it rains. It's like up to the archers. But yeah, they just called it off. So I went home and searched high and low for another shoot I could do whilst I was still in the UK. Um, and I managed to find one, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a frustrating experience. How about the highs? A bit better to talk about as well. What stands out as your kind of favorite kind of moments or moment?
Um, Probably shooting at the youth festival. Big junior event happens every year in the summer and it's a week long. You get to meet loads of new people and it's just a really great experience for sort of having that high pressure competition feel, but without the pressure.
Yeah,
You get to shoot on a finals field if you're lucky enough to get through. And yeah, it's just the way it's set out is like a World Cup. And it's just a great experience.
yeah, yeah. Sounds good. And let's talk about nerves and like in these big tournaments that you go to. How do you have a strategy or a way to calm those nerves before you go out there?
Yeah, so there tends to be a lot of tense archery competitions. So just sort of having your own space to be able to sort of take that time at the start, listen to music, read a book, um, anything really. But yeah, just sort of away from that buzz and take the time to relax.
Yeah, definitely. let's move on to representing Jersey, and I want to go back to a comment you made earlier as well about not many chances within Jersey to compete against people when you were younger. How frustrating was that on Ireland?
Yeah, it's fairly frustrating because not many people know about the sport, so there's then not many people to compete against. But I sort of just there was a few juniors and I'd compete against them, but as you sort of move up, I was like, well, there's no one, so I just sort of aimed for the adults, and I was like, well, see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. How good was that early kind of transition into adult archery competitions and being around them from an early age?
I think it really helped me because obviously they're that like level up, they're shooting further distances, and aiming for their scores. It sort of helped me to progress and oh, I want to beat them and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. Have you beat your mum and dad yet or
not yet.
no?
They shoot different bow styles though, but I've beat a few times.
Yeah, yeah. Nice. Nice. How much do you enjoy putting on a jersey shirt and representing them when you do represent them?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
Um, it's great because it's your home island. Um, and even when you're away, just seeing like having that as your team. And my favorite one is like if we're shooting and you're in head to heads, other nations, countries, they get knocked out, and just seeing everyone sort of cheering for you,
yeah,
or they even if they're not from your country, everyone gathers round and it's very friendly.
yeah, yeah, for sure. That sounds good. It's archery like a good family community when it obviously it's competitive, but then at the same time there's that good community around it.
Yeah, it's a very sociable sport. Um, Lots of time to be social and yeah, coming together as a community, supporting each other.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Right, Ironing Games coming up. Firstly, on a personal note, it's your first Ironing Games. How keen are you for it, and how much do you want to succeed over there?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Um, I was hoping to go to Gibraltar 5 years ago, but there was no archery, so I'm really excited to be going. Looking forward to the whole atmosphere, just being in the games and taking part. But yeah, hopefully it will go well.
Yeah, definitely. How's the team looking as well? Obviously, a lot of noise on social media, your social media about it all. How's the team looking?
Yeah, we're training hard. Obviously there's not long to go now, so really like training and getting in the gym, keeping the strength up, just sort of bringing it all together.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. What are the goals for both the team and yourself individually? Um, in terms of competing, what is there a team event, an individual event? Explain to us what's going to go on.
Yeah, so the first sort of day and a half is individual, and then we move into there's it's still based on the team, but you shoot individually, and then we move on to team head to heads and shooting in pairs, in threes. Yeah, so obviously everyone's aiming for medals, but just generally looking, I'm hoping to get some personal bests. But yeah, having a good time and really taking it all in.
Yeah, definitely. On a personal note, what do you prefer? Do you prefer like the individual events, or do you like working as a team in those team events?
Yeah, I it's hard to say. I like both, but there's definitely a better atmosphere around the team stuff. Um and yeah, just having people there that you're shooting with, you know them, shooting against other islands.
Yeah, yeah, good, good. Beyond the Island Games, for you personally. where do you see yourself going with archery? How far do you want to go?
I've been looking at bucks for next year. Um, so hopefully that's something I'll be able to do. And just future Island Games, we've got Orkney in 2 years, so I'm hoping to qualify for that, be part of the team.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Finally, just a bit of a kind of shout out to archery itself, and how much would you encourage others to start up in archery? And obviously, I see you. Well, we'll come to that in a minute. Actually, I want to talk about social media because I think it's great, and I think it's out there. It's really promoting the sport. How important is that side of things for you? And I've seen you use it a lot. So how important do you think it is to shout about it from a personal point of view?
Yeah, it's so important. There's so many people that don't know how to get into archery or even that it's a sport, and it's so sociable. You don't have to compete, you can just come along and shoot. Um, and yeah, just getting it out there, showing everyone what we're all about, and having fun really.
Yeah, definitely. And how much would you encourage people to join or even have a go and then who knows, they might love it kind of thing?
So much. It's just, and as well, like any age, like some people are like, oh, I'm too old, I can't do it, but just come and try, you never know. Like we'll help everyone to have a go and get them started if they want to.
Definitely. And for those who might not, well, not, they will have social media, but how can people get involved? Where do you train? And how can people get in touch as well?
Yeah, so we train at Crabbe, and then there's out in Grooville, there's another club. And just searching us up, we've got Facebook, we're on Instagram, Jersey Archery. Um, and yeah, just getting in touch, drop us an email, message, and we'll get back.
Great, great. No, that's all from me, I think. Is there anything you'd like to add at all?
I don't think you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. Good luck in a few weeks in Ireland Games. I hope it all goes to plan for you and the team.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you for watching Sportscast Jersey. Another episode is coming soon.